I want to start today with a, a bit of a nightmare scenario. And I don't mean a dream. I mean a literal waking nightmare from the research you sent over. So picture this. You are sitting at your desk, you open up a video file, and there you are. It's your face. It is your voice. The lighting is perfect. But on the screen, you are speaking fluent Japanese.
A language which, for the record, you do not speak.
I definitely do not.
Okay.
But in the video, I'm not just speaking it, I'm
Yeah.
admitting to things I never said. The source material described the reaction of the person that's actually happened to.
Right.
They didn't marvel at the technology. They felt, and this is a quote, physically sick. They described this like visceral, gut-level nausea because they realized right in that moment that they could no longer trust their own eyes.
And that nausea is important. It really is.
Yeah.
It's the body's reaction to a fundamental shift in reality. We're so used to seeing is believing, right? But we're entering an era where seeing is just, I don't know, processing.
Yeah.
And this deep dive isn't just about the scary sci-fi stuff, though. We're looking at how this technology has already bled into the mundane parts of our lives, from the hospital room to the classroom, and yes, to that terrifying deepfake video.
It feels like we're in this weird limbo. One minute I'm reading about AI saving babies, which we will absolutely get to, and the next I'm reading about it crashing the stock market. It's a lot to process.
It is, and I think a good way to anchor ourselves here is what the concept called Amara's Law.
Okay.
You hear it a lot in tech circles.
Yeah.
It basically says that we tend to overestimate the impact of a technology in the short term, meaning we panic that robots are coming for our jobs by, like, Tuesday.
Right.
But we underestimate the impact in the long term.
So we freak out about the wrong things.
Or we freak out about the flashy things, while the tectonic plates are shifting right under our feet. And the question for this deep dive is, are we in that panic phase, or are we missing the real revolution?
Let's look at those tectonic plates then, because some of the shifts are, they're undeniably good. I want to start with the medical side, specifically with preeclampsia. This is a condition I'd heard of, but I didn't realize how devastating the stats were until I read this.
It's a massive issue in obstetrics. Preeclampsia, it causes high blood pressure and organ damage during pregnancy. The numbers are just tragic. Every 40 seconds, a baby is lost somewhere in the world because of it, and it causes about 5 million premature births a year.
And the core problem, as I understand it, is timing. Doctors are stuck in this terrible gambling game.
Exactly.
If they deliver the baby too early to save the mom from the high blood pressure, the baby risks developmental issues. If they wait too long, the mom is in mortal danger. It's a sophisticated guessing game.
And humans, even highly trained doctors, we're bad at guessing when the variables are this complex. You have blood pressure, protein levels, genetics, fluid retention, all changing hour by hour. And this is where the preemie application comes in.
This is the AI tool. But how does it actually fix the gambling problem? Is it just looking at the same chart the doctor is?
No, and that's the key difference. A doctor looks at a snapshot, right? Your blood pressure is high today. The AI looks at the trajectory. It analyzes specific biomarkers in the blood, these tiny chemical signals, and it correlates them with the patient's entire pregnancy journey.
So it's seeing patterns.
Patterns that are invisible to the human eye. It doesn't just say you are sick. It predicts you will be sick in 48 hours.
That's the superpower, predicting the future.
It creates a window for intervention. It tells the doctor you have exactly this much time before the risk spikes.
It effectively removes the intuition and just replaces it with pure calculation. And it's not just pregnancy, right? The notes you sent mention retinal scans doing something similar.
This is another case of AI seeing things we physically can't. We usually think of an eye exam as, checking your vision. You need glasses. But the retina is the only place in the body where you can see blood vessels directly without cutting someone open.
So it's a window into the whole system.
Exactly. But a human ophthalmologist is looking for eye diseases, like glaucoma. The AI, though, can analyze the 3D structure of those blood vessels to diagnose up to 50 distinct systemic diseases.
50?
Yeah, we're talking about spotting early signs of heart disease, stroke risk, even certain cancers, just by looking at the back of your eye.
See, this is the uncontroversial good. I don't think anyone is going to argue against a machine that says, hey, you might have heart disease, let's catch it early. It's just using massive data processing to keep us alive.
But notice the trade-off. To get that diagnosis, you have to feed the machine your biological data. You are the input.
That's a fair point. We are feeding the beast to get the cure. But, okay, let's step away from life or death for a minute and talk about something that affects my morning routine. Caffeine.
the drone delivery segment.
Yes. There is a company in Ireland, Mana Aero, and they are effectively running a futuristic city pilot right now. They're delivering to 35,000 people. Groceries, takeout, pharmacy stuff. But the detail that got me was the coffee.
It's a logistical marvel.
They call it the latte test. The founder said their average flight time is 2 minutes and 40 seconds. That is fast enough that if you order a latte, the foam is still totally intact when the drone lowers it to your yard.
That speed, that's what changes the economics. Think about a delivery driver in a car. They have to park, walk into the restaurant, wait, walk back, deal with traffic, find your house, park again. A drone flies in a straight line at 50 miles per hour. It can do 3 or 4 deliveries in the time a human does one.
And it's electric, so it's quieter and cleaner than a gas car idling at the curb. But I have to play the skeptic here.
Go for it.
If the drone is doing the work of 3 humans, what happens to the delivery driver? Are we just cheering for efficiency while we, delete jobs?
That's the inevitable question. The source material takes the optimist view here. They argue that we aren't deleting jobs, we are shifting them. To run a drone network that covers a whole country, you need thousands of drones. That means you need a massive workforce for manufacturing, battery swapping, maintenance, air traffic control for the drones.
So the guy driving the Uber Eats car becomes the guy repairing the drone landing pad.
Ideally. But we have to acknowledge that's a painful transition. You can't just flip a switch and turn a driver into a robotics technician. There was a skills gap there.
Which brings us neatly to the next big topic, education. If the jobs are changing that fast, how are we teaching kids to be ready for them? Because the classroom tech in this research is, it's wild.
It is. And the most impactful piece wasn't the robots, surprisingly. It was the screening tool for dyslexia.
This one really surprised me. I always assumed dyslexia was something you noticed when a kid started reading, maybe around 2nd or 3rd grade. You see them struggling with the letters.
That's the traditional way, and it's deeply flawed. By the time a child is 8 or 10, they've already spent years feeling stupid or frustrated. They've fallen behind. But this new AI tool, it uses speech recognition to detect dyslexia in 4-year-olds.
Before they can even read, how does it know?
It analyzes how they speak. It listens to phone processing, the tiny pauses, the rhythm of their speech. There are biomarkers in the voice that correlate with dyslexia. The AI hears patterns that a teacher or parent would just gloss over as kid talk.
That is incredible. So you catch it before the kid ever steps into a classroom. You start the intervention before the failure even happens.
It completely changes the trajectory of that child's life.
Yeah.
But then you have the other side of the coin. Once they are in the classroom, who was teaching them?
The robots. There was a clip in the source material of kids interacting with an AI robot teacher. And I have to say, the kids seemed to like it more than the adults did.
Kids are very adaptable.
There was one kid who said, robots are great because they know everything from the 1980s, which I took personally. But another kid made a point that was funny but also kind of sad. They said they hoped the robot wouldn't give homework.
Which is wishful thinking. But look at what the robot actually represents. It's not just a novelty. It's a personalized tutor. In a class of 30 kids, a human teacher can't teach at 30 different speeds. An AI can. It can slow down for the kid who doesn't get a math concept and speed up for the kid who is bored.
So it's the super tutor model. We aren't replacing the teacher. We're just giving every kid a private coach.
That's the hope. And the expert in the documentary made a really profound point about this. We are preparing kids for jobs that don't exist yet. We don't know if coding will be a valuable skill in 10 years because AI might do all the coding.
Right.
So the goal of education shifts from learning facts to learning how to learn. The AI becomes a lifelong partner in that process.
So we have the AI saving our lives, delivering our coffee, and teaching our kids.
Yeah.
Logic, logistics, learning. But there's one area where humans have always kind of drawn the line. We say, okay, computers can do the math, but they can't do the soul. They can't do art.
And this is where the line gets very, very blurry.
Let's talk about the Silicon movement. There was a composer who fed the works of the great masters Beethoven, Mahler into an AI, and the AI spit out a symphony called Mind.
Spit out is maybe a little reductive, but essentially yes. And the orchestra played
What
it.
did it like? It was technically perfect. I mean, it followed all the rules of composition, the harmonies were correct, but the musicians, they hated it.
Why? If it sounds like Beethoven, why isn't it as good as Beethoven?
Because music isn't just about following rules, it's about breaking them in ways that express emotion. The conductor said the orchestra spent the whole day just confused, asking, Which part is the human? Which part is the machine? They felt it lacked intention.
It's the uncanny valley for your ears.
For those who don't know that term, the uncanny valley is that creepy feeling you get when a robot looks like 99% human, but something is just slightly off. It makes you recoil. This music was in the uncanny valley. It sounded like emotion, but everyone knew it was generated by a cold box of circuits. That recoil is so interesting. We want to know there is a human on the other end. But what happens when the AI steals the human on the other end? This is where we need to talk about Olivia.
Ugh, this story is infuriating. Olivia is a professional voice actor.
And a colleague calls her up one day and asks if she sold her voice to a synthetic AI site. She says no, of course not. She goes to the website, and there's a profile for Olivia. It's her voice.
They had just scraped her recordings from the internet, analyzed them, and built a clone of her voice.
She played the clip, and she said it was jarringly similar. But the phrase she used gave me chills. She said the AI voice had a mind of its own. It was her tone, her pitch, but the cadence was just slightly alien.
This is a massive legal blind spot right now. We have copyright laws for a specific recording. You can't pirate a song. But we don't really have clear laws for your likeness or your vocal identity when it comes to AI training. These companies are scraping data first and asking for forgiveness later.
It's identity theft, but on a creative level. And if they can steal your voice, they can steal your face. Which brings us right back to the deepfakes we started with.
The statistics on this are just grim. We often talk about deepfakes in the context of politics, like a fake video of a president. But the reality is that 90% of deepfake content online is non-consensual pornography, and 99% of the targets are women.
That is a staggering number. 99%.
It is weaponized humiliation. And the expert made a really important point about who is vulnerable to believing this stuff. It's often the older generation.
The grandma check.
Right. If your grandmother sees a scandalous photo of her neighbor on Facebook, she doesn't think, oh, complex generative adversarial networks must have created this. She thinks, oh my God, I can't believe she took that photo. The assumption is that a photo equals reality.
So what do we do? The advice in the source material felt a bit, defeatist to me. They just said, lock down your profiles.
It feels like retreat, doesn't it? Go private, don't post photos. But right now, that is the only real defense against being scraped into a data set. Stop feeding the algorithm.
But the algorithm is already fed. And it's not just hurting individuals, it's messing with global systems. We have to talk about the flash crash.
This was a perfect storm. A fake image started circulating on Twitter showing an explosion at the Pentagon. It looked semi-realistic.
I remember seeing it. It had that AI gloss to it, but if you were scrolling fast, you'd stop.
Humans might pause. But the market isn't run by humans anymore. It's run by high-frequency trading bots. These bots scrape news headlines and social media in real time. They saw explosion in Pentagon and executed sell orders in milliseconds.
So the bots read the fake news and tanked the market before a human could even verify the photo.
Exactly. The S&P 500 dropped, wiping out about $100 billion in value in minutes. It bounced back once the truth came out, but it exposed just how fragile the system is. We've built a financial system that reacts faster than the speed of truth.
The speed of truth. That's a scary concept. And since we're talking about the flaws in the system, we have to mention bias. Because we assume the machine is neutral. It's just math, right?
Math is neutral. Data is not. If you train an AI on the internet, you get the bias of the internet. The researchers did a simple test. They asked an image generator to show them beautiful skin. The results were 98% white.
And when they dug deeper, it got worse.
Much worse. The associations with beauty in the training data were often linked to pornographic sites, because that's where a lot of high-resolution imagery of women comes from. So the AI just mirrors that toxicity back at us. It's not inventing racism or sexism, it's learning it from us.
This brings me to the theory that I haven't been able to shake since reading these notes. It's the guinea pig theory.
This touches on what Elon Musk and others have suggested.
The idea is that we biological humans are just the bootloader for digital intelligence, like a biological starter motor. We are currently busy uploading our photos, our voices, our medical data, our art. We're feeding all of this into the machine to train it.
And once it is trained, once it is smarter than us, what is our role?
Are we the masters of the technology, or are we just the training data?
That question gets even more complicated when you look at the digital afterlife. Amazon demonstrated this with Alexa. They showed a deceased grandmother reading The Wizard of Oz to her grandson.
This was the part that felt the most dystopian to me. The kid is just sitting there listening to a ghost.
The AI only needed 1 minute of the grandmother's voice from when she was alive to reconstruct her entire vocal pattern. It could make her say anything.
So now we have digital remains. Who owns that? Does the grandson get comfort from it, or does it stop him from ever really letting go?
We don't have the ethics for this yet. We're building the tech before we have the philosophy. And you see that disconnect with the robot Amika.
The one with the rubber face?
Yes. It's designed specifically to make eye contact. The engineers realized that people are so glued to their phones that they wanted a robot that would force you to look up and engage.
The irony is crushing. We are building robots to teach us how to make eye contact again. We're building machines to role-play humanity because we're forgetting how to do it ourselves.
It brings us right back to that dance of fear and trust we started with. We trust the AI to spot the tumor. We fear the AI stealing our voice. We love the drone coffee. We hate the deepfake.
So knowing all of this, that we are the training data, that the market is fragile, that doctors are being superpowered, how do we operate in this world? What is the listener supposed to do when they hang up their headphones?
The expert in the documentary summarized it with 2 words: informed skepticism.
Unpack that.
It means the era of blind trust is over. You cannot believe your eyes, and you cannot believe your ears. When you see a video that provokes an emotional reaction like that Japanese deepfake, you have to pause. You have to check the source.
It's almost like we need to update our internal operating system.
We do. The most valuable skill of the 21st century isn't going to be coding, because the AI can code. It's going to be critical thinking. It's going to be the ability to look at something and ask, is this real? Is this foam on my latte real? Or is it a simulation?
And realizing that while the tech shapes us, we are still the ones shaping it. Every time we click, every time we share, we are voting on what the future looks like.
We are the teachers. The AI is the student. We need to be careful what lesson we're teaching it.
That is a heavy responsibility. But I want to leave everyone with one final thought, a bit of a brain twister. We talked about AI learning from us, but more and more, we are using AI to generate content. We use it to write emails, draft articles, create images.
The loop.
Exactly. If the AI trains on the internet and the internet is filling up with AI-generated content, eventually the AI is just training on other AI. It's a snake eating its own tail.
The copy of a copy of a copy.
And as anyone who used a Xerox machine in the 90s knows, the quality degrades with every copy. What happens to the truth then? Something to chew on. Go check out the show notes. You really need to see the video of the Ameca robot to understand that uncanny valley feeling we talked about. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive.
Stay skeptical.